What's going on, Aces? Welcome back to the channel. It is Throwback Thursday, and because we lost an icon yesterday, rest in peace, Tina Turner, I gotta do What's Love Got to Do with This? So, this movie came out in 1993, and it was transformative for so many reasons. I believe that it really, showed a light to how strong and empowered Tina Turner really is. Like, she came from rural Tennessee, growing up picking cotton. And I looked up, how old she was. She was 83. She was the same age as my grandmother. She was born in 1939. So just to imagine, rural Tennessee during that time, I mean, that was the Jim Crow South. And, surviving domestic violence. I mean, she's empowered so many women. So many women told Tina, and she said during an interview, that they got the courage to leave their abusive partners because of this movie. So her legacy lives on. Let's go ahead and get into the movie. Did you know that Halle Berry, Whitney Houston, and Robin Givens were all considered for the role of Tina Turner, but the singer chose Angela Bassett after she screen tested with the performance of the song Proud Mary? Although Tina Turner's voice was used for all of the musical numbers, Bassett performed her own dancing sequences in the film without a double. And to date, I think this is my favorite Angela Bassett role. As I've stated before, not only is she, trained from Yale University, she's also one of the best actresses in our lifetime, hands down. And this role, of course, I feel like she should have gotten an Oscar for many roles, but this one, she just embodied Tina. And I mean, she was taught from simply the best, right? So Tina Turner worked with her specifically during the dance sequences. I mean, the moves, the flips of the hair, the wig, the just everything. Tina is not only, an icon for her voice, but she's also mostly known for her dancing, her famous legs, and Angela's body was sickening in this movie. Okay. And it came out when I was a little kid. So I remember watching it and just being in awe of everything that she survived with her horrible ex-husband, but also just to see her transform her career. She became more of a superstar in her 40s and 50s than she was even in her youth. She's the one of the only few people, I think maybe the only one that I heard recently that was inducted into the Hall of Fame, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame twice. So she was first inducted with the Ike and Tina Review way back when, but also just 2 years ago, before she passed, she was inducted again by herself, as she should, because she's an icon in her own right. Like, she left that horrible marriage with just her name, and that was it, and the clothes on her back, pretty much. So she was born and raised as Anna Mae Bullock in Brownsville, Tennessee, November 26, 1939. And as shown here in the movie, she's always had a special voice, a love for music. So she unfortunately is left by her mother. Her mom takes her sister, who's older, and she leaves her in Tennessee. And they go to St. Louis, her mom and her sister, to build a life there. And then they send for her when she gets a little bit older. So she, arrives to St. Louis to live with her mom after she had walked out on her when she was small. And she soon attracts the attention of the group leader, Ike Turner. So he has her, audition, and she sings in the club during audition night. And he's like, oh my goodness, this girl can sing. And so he approaches, her mom, played by Jennifer Lewis, who's an icon in herself. And they pretty much, take the show on the road. After, of course, he greases her palm a little bit. So she becomes the band's singer, And then she eventually becomes, his wife and the mother of his children. And she also, takes the kids that are not hers biologically as well. So she, because of her own abandonment issues, and because, she has such a romantic heart, she stays with him through just horrific abuse. I mean, Tina talks about how extensive it was and the things that he has done more specifically in detail. So I'm not going to go too much into how horrific the abuse is, but even in the movie, like he would just do really denigrating and humiliating things to her. So she finds herself as, if you don't nip anything in the bud, it escalates. And so the violence was, increasing. But here she is with the I gets, and she realizes that she has to separate herself from him as well as she should. And so she leaves him, and she here's one of their last pictures together as a group in the movie. But kudos to Laurence Fishburne. Let me just a side note: he turned down the role of Ike Turner 5 times. Now, I didn't know this until I did a little bit of research. But when he found out that Angela Bassett won the role, he changed his mind because Angela is such a phenomenal actress. But yeah, Ike Turner and Angela Bassett have played, they've played couples in a couple movies. Boys in the Hood, they were together, and Akeelah and the Bee, I believe that they were a couple as well. But of course, this is the performance that, sticks out in people's minds because they played the role so well. But my favorite part of the movie is when, she takes her agency and her power back at the end and, she kills it. And she goes on to transform her entire life from, being here in the US where she was treated as a second-class citizen from the rural South picking cotton to, being worth over $250 million and buying an amazing chateau in a mansion over in Europe. She was in Europe for decades. And she first was in the south of France in Nice. And there's a clip on social media about Mike Wallace, saying, well, do you feel like you deserve all this? She's like, I deserve more. You're absolutely right, Tina. And she did. And yeah, just a side note here, though, Angela Bassett, she kills every single movement. Like she studied Tina's every just isolation, from her legs to, her dance moves to just everything. Like she kills it here. So I love this movie. It definitely hits different now that I'm an adult than when I saw it when I was a little kid. To be honest, when I was a kid, it scared me a little bit. But now that I'm an adult, I can appreciate Tina Turner, like I said, taking back her own life and empowering herself to transform her life. She got remarried and she was with her new husband for decades. I think they said almost like 30 years before she agreed to eventually marry him. But she took back her life. Like all she, used was her stage name, which she earned. And she became one of the best-selling artists of all time. Multi-Grammy, the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award is in and of itself such a rarity. And I'm so proud of her for not letting other people's definitions of who she should be interfere with the woman that she knows that she is. And she was. And she was an icon, a true queen, the queen of rock and roll. You guys drop down in the comments to let me know your thoughts on what's love got to do with it. And please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And I will talk to you later. Take care, aces. Bye.